Welcome to HellPod Gaming.
Welcome Helldivers to my channel. In this video I am going to make a tier list of all the orbital stratagems. As there are three of the factions in the game like Terminids, Automatons and the Illuminates, I will divide this tier list in three parts as well, and as the video will get too long covering all the three factions tier list, I will make the tier list of only the bug factions for this video and covering the other two in separate videos. Now then, let's jump right into the tier list of orbital stratagems for Terminites without any further ado. Alright, Hell Divers, let me go to the stratagems section and bring out the orbitals. Alright, here they are. As this is a tier list, S is being the best, the god tier, and D being the poopy. That means never bring this stratagem to any of the missions. You can bring it, but it's just worthless. Now then, as you can read guys, there are 12 orbital stratagems as of now in the game, and I have put the images here. So let's start ranking them in sequence. Now the first one is Orbital Smoke Strike. I will not waste any of the time. This is just most worthless of the stratagem in the entire game. So I will just put it in B tier. Now let me explain why this is the worst of them all. But before that, let me put another of the orbital in the tier list. That will be Orbital EMS Strike. And this one I will put above the Smoke Strike in C tier. Now then, let me explain why. Alright, first of all, what Smoke Strike does is nothing. It just creates smokes after the missile fell down to the surface. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't deal any damage. It doesn't deal any damage over time. Nothing. It just blocks the visual so that the enemy will not be able to see you, and that's it. If the enemies are moving towards you before the smoke strikes, and there are chances that the enemy will catch you even if you are out of the smoke on the other side. So that's a useless thing overall. So I don't think that this stratagem is better or good in any case. So instead of this stratagem, you can always bring any other stratagem that can deal damage or that is really helpful in some scenarios. So I don't think this stratagem is better than any of the in the entire game. Now then, the next one will be the Orbital EMS Strike. This stratagem is at least better than the Orbital Gas Strike. First of all, cooldown time is like 1 minute compared to the 1.5 minute here, and fall in time is same as the Smoke Strike. But the difference is whenever the EMS strike hits the ground, it creates a EMS field around the hit point, right? So in this video, as you can see, the enemies are not moving who are affected by this EMS strike. So what it does, it freezes the enemy and they will not be able to move. So in this scenario, you can either escape the situation if the situation is very grievous. There are so many enemies, you are in danger. So you can either use it to escape, especially when there are bug breaches. You can just hit this and run, or either you can just freeze them and kill them with your primary weapon, as they will not be able to move. So there are two ways, but still this is better because enemy will not be able to move, and in terms of smoke strike, enemies will still be able to move, and especially the sensory type of enemies will be able to find you and kill you eventually. So that's the difference between two of these stratagems. And now then, let's go with this stratagem. Now this is called the Orbital Precision Strike. Now if I have to rank this one, I will go either for the high B tier or low A tier, but let's put it in B tier, and in the final moment we will see if it comes to the low A tier, or if it is still a B tier stratagem. So what does it do, right? That's the question. As you can see here, the call-in time is again 3.5 seconds. Cooldown time is like a mediocre kind of cooldown time, because 77 seconds is more than a minute. And what it does, this type of cooldown time doesn't justify it. It should be like 40 seconds. Now then, let's talk about what it does. As you can see in the video, it just hits a single target or a small radius on the ground, you can see in the video. So this is just one hit, and the radius is small as well of the explosion. So if you are trying to kill like bile titans or impalers or chargers whose armors are like heavy armor, so that's a good thing, but you have to be very precise, because if the enemy is moving and enemy is just a teensy weensy bit away from the hit point, they might not die. That's how inferior this orbital stratagem is, because it says here anti-tank. That means it can kill heavy enemies, and it does kill, but if you hit the enemy properly and with perfect precision. That's why it is called precision strike. Now then, either they should, decrease the cooldown time, or they should increase the overall radius of the explosion, area of explosion. Then it will be a little bit better than the other stratagems that we are going to talk about. But as of now, this is either high B tier or low A tier of the stratagem, just because of the anti-tank property that it has. Alright then, the next one is Orbital Gas Strike. Now this is one of my most favorite stratagems in the entire game, and the reason being is, especially for the Terminids, first of all let me rank it in the highest tier. Now let's talk about what it does. Alright, first of all, cooldown time. It's just 1 minute and 4 seconds. Secondly, unlimited usage, and calling time is also not that high, so which is a great thing. And it shows explosive, but it is not explosive. It doesn't deal any explosive damage to the enemies, but it can destroy the bug holes if you drop the gas strike perfectly on the hole aiming at it, I mean. So what does it do? What gas does is it causes damage over time whoever is impacted or affected by this gas property. And the other thing that it does, it confuses the enemy. If the enemy is under the effect of gas, they will not attack you. I mean, 99% of the times they will not attack you, but 1% chance they will still attack you out of their conscience. I mean, I have played multiple times, and there are very less scenarios where they still hit after getting, under the effect of the gas. So, how to use it? First of all, if there is a horde of bugs following you, you can just throw it and they will be confused. Or you can use it against the bug breach. Whenever there is a bug breach, you just drop it. All the enemies emerging from the ground will be confused and they will not follow you. They will just receive damage over time and be confused, and you can either escape and or you can use that moment to kill even more bugs. So that's how you use it. But there is one more problem, guys. This stratagem doesn't confuse huge enemies like Bile Titan and the Impaler, but it can confuse the Charger, so there is that. But still, this stratagem is great to kill like small and medium enemies like in no time, so that's why this comes in the S tier. Now the next one is Orbital Gatling Barrage. Where should I put it? Again, this is I think a high B tier stratagem or either a low A tier, but let's put it in at least A tier because it is still better than this precision strike. Now let's talk about it how. Alright, where is it? Let me find it. It should be above. Yep, here it is. Orbital Gatling Barrage. First of all, call-in time is better than the previous ones that I talked about. 2 seconds. Cooldown time is perfectly 1 minute, so cooldown time is good as well. Use is unlimited. You can use it like more than 30 times in a single match, because a single match is like 40 minutes. So you can just spam it into the small hordes of the bugs, which is a great thing. Again, this is explosive. Actually, this is not explosive, it is written here, but it's like a normal bullet kind of thing. I don't know why they wrote that it's an explosive type of weapon. Now they are mentioning that this is heavy armor penetrating orbital strike, but I don't think it is a heavy armor penetration type of orbital, because I have tried to kill like multiple times the chargers or the impalers or bile titans, but like 99% of the times I haven't even seen a scratch on their armors. by this stratagem. I don't know why they are mentioning heavy armor penetration, but it doesn't penetrate the armor, so I don't think it's a heavy armor penetration. Now the downside is the range is kind of small and the hits are random. Sometimes it doesn't even kill this alpha commander as well, because I have tested it. It can injure it, drop the health of the enemy like very low of the alpha commanders, but still many times I have seen that the enemies are not dying from the Gatling barrage in that range that it's hitting the bullets. So that's why I am not putting it in like S tier or any above from low A tier or high B tier. That's the reason. But it is still better than these three stratagems in my opinion. So that's why it's here. Now then, the next one is Orbital Airbus Strike. Hmm. This stratagem is still better than this one. Now let's see how. Alright, as you can see, the range is kind of similar, but at one time it just hits multiple bullets in just one single blow. So that's a better good thing than the previous one. And call in time is again the same, 3.5 seconds, uses unlimited. Now the issue is that cooldown time is on a little bit higher side, and it strikes like 4 times from the orbit, so you can just drop it on the bug breaches and it will just annihilate them for a while you can escape or use any other strategies that you have up your sleeve. So it shows explosive. I don't think it's again any explosion type of stratagem. It's just um, the right word would be shotgun based stratagem. And it is heavy armor penetration, and yes, it is heavy armor penetration, not the heavy one. You can kill like alpha commanders like in one shot with this stratagem, and I have tested it and it does the job. So that's why I love this stratagem, and especially as a beginner, if you are playing like level 6 or below, this stratagem is like high A tier stratagem. That's how good it is. But in like super hell dive like level 9 level 10, there are like uh, more impalers and chargers and bile titans. It's kind of feeling like useless in those scenarios, but still it comes handy many times for like small bug hordes or something like that. So still it surpasses all of these stratagems that are below it, so that's why it deserves a higher tier than these ones. Now the next one is Orbital 120 HE barrage. This one is even better than the Airbus strike. Now then, as you can see, first of all, it's anti-tank, so it can destroy biggest of the enemies in the game like bile titans, chargers, impalers, or any other kind of large enemies. And not only that, this is true explosive. This is the meaning of explosion, guys. You can see the explosive effect that it shows after impacting on the surface. Now there are some downsides. First of all, the cooldown time, as you can see, 154 seconds, but I think it justifies what it does, the cooldown time I mean, because I know why developers made the cooldown time on the higher side, because if it was like 120 seconds or 1 minute, the game would be like piece of cake. Then I mean, yeah, the game turns out to be piece of cake if the cooldown time is decreased for this stratagem. I mean, overall cooldown time is still be decreased if you unlock all the ship modules, which I will talk about in future videos. But still, unlimited usage, which is a great thing again. The only downside is that cooldown time is on a higher side and the calling time is on the higher side as well. Now then, how to use it and where to use it and is it any good? First of all, if you are playing like blitz missions, like 12 minutes mission in which you have to clear the bug holes very fast, or you are playing like a mission in which there are so many nest of the Terminids, then this comes handy so much because you just drop it in the medium uh, Terminids nest and it will be destroyed. 99% of the times, if the whole medium nest is not destroyed, there will be only like one or two bug holes left which you can destroy easily. That's why this is a great stratagem. And again, it is anti-tank and the range is good, you can see. So that's why it deserves the upper A tier rank. So yeah, that's the reason. Now the next one is Orbital 380 HE Barrage. Now some of you, especially the beginner players, will think that 380 is better than 120, at least in numbers, but actually it is inferior. Where should I put it? Let's put it here, or I can put it here because airburst is more um, usable in real-time scenarios. But oh, all right, it's arguable between these two, but I'll put it here, and let's get the explanation why. First of all, for 120 mmHE barrage, the distance between the falling missiles is not that huge. The distance that is empty between the two falling missiles, right? But in the case of 380 HE barrage, the distance is like so much, so it can just ignore so many of the enemies, they will not die. So that's the downside of this stratagem. And again, the cooldown time is even 50 more seconds than the 120 HE barrage. Call in time is increased as well. But the great things again, anti-tank, explosive, and unlimited usages. Now where should we use it? I think the only use for this stratagem in the Terminids faction is for, again, for the blitz missions where you have to clear the nests. Especially there is a mega nest, so it comes handy in that situation. You just drop it in the center and half of the nest is cleared. So that's the only scenario I think this stratagem is good in Terminids faction. That is why it is inferior to 120 mmHE barrage. The next one is Orbital Walking Barrage. Where should I put it? Alright. This I think is even inferior to this 380 HE barrage. And let's talk about it why. Now as you can see, the range is in circular type where the missiles are falling in 380 barrage, and same goes for 120 just the radius is smaller. But in terms of walking barrage, the barrage starts from a point and it keeps walking forward. That's what it does. That's why it is called walking barrage. Now in like 90% of the scenarios, the enemies will not be lined up, so I don't think it is useful, especially for the bug breaches or the mega nests. So that's why I don't think it deserves any better ranking than these two. And again, same cooldown time as 380 barrage. Call-in time is little bit decreased if you compare with the 380 barrage. Unlimited usages, but still it doesn't justify the thing that it does compared to 380 or 120 That is why I am putting it below them. I mean, let's put it here. This is like so much better than this one in practical. Now the next one. Alright, if you are a new player, if you are a beginner player and your aim is like very shitty, you just can't throw correctly the stratagem, aim it towards the enemy, then guys, this stratagem is for you. Especially, I mean, this overall is a very good stratagem. There are some downsides which we'll talk about, but if I have to rank it, I will put it above the 380 HE barrage. Sometimes it is better than 120, but most of the scenarios I think this will be below 120 HE barrage. Now let's talk about why. Alright, first of all, call-in time is like godlike. You just throw the stratagem, within 1 second the laser will rain down to the surface. Downside again, only 3 uses per match. You will not be able to use more than 3 times. The cooldown time is like very annoying. It's like 250 seconds, even more than 50 seconds more than the 380 HE barrage, which is again a downside. And now the best parts. First of all, it's anti-tank. It can destroy largest of the enemies in the game. And the second thing, the best thing, let's say you threw this and enemies are a little bit further away from the throw point where you threw the stratagem. It will automatically detect the largest enemy where you threw the stratagem. It will detect the nearby largest enemy and it will target it and kill it. After it kills the largest enemy, it will find the second largest enemy to kill that. So that's why this stratagem is godlike for beginners. If your aim is not that good, you just throw it and it will do the job done. I mean, this is a god tier in some scenarios, but the only issue is the cooldown time is very high and the usage is limited. Now if they decrease the cooldown time to like 150 seconds, then I would say that this is a high S tier stratagem, but the cooldown time is an issue, especially with the limited usage. That's why this stratagem doesn't come in S tier. Alright, next one is my favorite one. This is known as Orbital Napalm Barrage. If I have to rank it, this is like the top of the S tier, even better than this gas strike in most of the scenarios. This is only used for one scenario amongst the pro, gamers. Now let's talk about that. All right, here it is, Orbital Napalm Barrage. First of all, cooldown time is on a little bit higher side, um, but if you know when to throw it, then it is not an issue. Especially if you hear a bug breaching, bug breaching, then you just throw it immediately near that bug, and before the bug breach starts, it will do its job. It will start doing its job. And secondly, unlimited usage. Unlike the orbital laser, it has unlimited usage. Cooldown time is again 50 seconds less than the laser one. Now the best part is, first of all, look at the range, look at the radius it covers. Like, I'm a big fan of this stratagem. Secondly, it is incendiary based stratagem. What is incendiary? Incendiary means fire. Now the bugs are the weakest against gas and fire. So how to use this? I mean, where do the pro gamers use this? This is only used when there are like bug breaches or a very huge swarm of enemies are coming towards you, especially when you are extracting. And if the extraction point is at the corner, then the enemies will infinitely spawn at the corner point and just keeps attacking towards you. So in that situation, you can use this, or either you can use it in the bug breach. You just throw it, enemies keep emerging from the ground and they will keep burning. That's what it does. It kills like in very less time like the small or the medium enemies, but it cannot kill bile titans, chargers, impalers, because their HPs are like way too big for this. So that's the issue here. But still, it clears the most of the crowd, so that you can focus on the leftovers of the large enemies. So that's what this stratagem is used for. That's why this stratagem comes in highest of the S tier, especially for the range, the incendiary damage, and unlimited usage. That's why we pro people love it. And it also makes the game easier, especially if you are a newbie or just a mediocre player. You can just use it and it will make the game overall easier. Now the last one, Orbital Rail Cannon. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. I will put it either in high B tier or low A tier. Let's put it in high B tier. Let me explain why. I mean, it's even better than this one in most of the scenarios. Let's talk about it, guys. First of all, what it does, it if you throw the stratagem, it will automatically detects the largest enemy in that location, and it will target it, and boom, it is killed. It can kill bile titans, chargers, impalers, all of the terminids enemies as of now, and it will not be able to kill some enemies, and I will talk about in the other videos. I mean, for the other videos I'll be making for the S tier. So yeah, for the bugs faction, it will like kill any of the enemies in the entire game, like bile titan or anything else. So that's a great thing, and you can use it like unlimited times, and as it is written here, anti-tank. But the issue is the cooldown time. You can see 180 seconds. First of all, the cooldown time is like way too high, and secondly, as the cooldown time is high, it only kills one single enemy. That's the biggest issue I'm not happy with. Now either they should decrease this cooldown time to like 120 seconds or 100 seconds, or either they should throw two or three lasers and kill like two or three enemies instead of only one. So that's what I ask from the developers, but they are not listening to any of the audience of this game. I mean, multiple audience already mentioned this issue, but they are like, no, because I think it will make the game again easier, because uh, the real challenge is to kill the big enemies, and if they die like very easily, very frequently, then it will be an issue. I can understand that. So that's why this comes in like high B tier. I mean, in B tier there are only two of the, but it is still better than this precision strike, because at least it automatically lock onto the largest target and kill it, and you can miss from this stratagem multiple times, so which is again an issue. So yeah guys, that is the overall tier list of the orbital stratagems for the Terminids tier list. So if you agree, then it's great. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you are like if you think that I made a mistake, I should do something else, if I have ranked any of the stratagems like wrongly, then we can have some arguments in the comment section. We can talk about it and even expand our knowledge further. So yeah, feel free to comment and I will be replying as soon as possible. I mean, I'm almost available like all the time on YouTube, so why not? So yeah guys, that was it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. So I will see you in like automatons factions tier list in the next video. So have a great day till then, and see you in the next one. Happy gaming, Helldivers.